Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live coding and chill. I'm your host Johnny, delighted to be here. Hope you're having amazing weeks. Let me know what you're up to. Today we'll be building a brand new documentation website and we'll be taking inspiration from the tools that we will be using today. So I think that I like with the documentation solutions is that they use themselves to actually be able to read in their docs. So we'll talk about Docusaurus, the super popular one from Meta. You may know them because they also make React, for example. They have 1 trillion stars on GitHub. But what we'll actually be using today is Starlight. It's Astro Starlight. And we'll talk about the reasons why we'll be using this one, why you may want to use the other one, but just to showcase how the docs work. They look very, very similar. I guess we've decided into a standard of docs that people like. You do want the nice search functionality here with the results, like this sort of command palette combo box type of situation that if you're a programmer, you will know it from VS Code as well, the command palette from Sublime Text, all those things back in the day. And you'll see that exactly the same goes for the Docusaurus as well. They look very, very different, very, very similar, but also they are very, very different in some ways that we'll be talking about. You have the sidebar here, you have things that expand. We'll be building all of these things and supposedly we'll have an easy time doing it because they're doing all of the hard work for us behind the scenes. Out of the gate, the Docusaurus mascot, S tier, much better than the pretty nice like star logo here. I do like it. It's quaint, but who can beat a cute animal? It's like a happy dinosaur holding a keyboard, or some other like crocodilosaurus type of situation here. Just can't help to love the mascot. So mascot wise, they do win. As for the reasons of why you would want to build a documentation website, so maybe you have a SaaS product, for example, maybe you are providing some sort of service, and the moment you provide some sort of thing, people will have questions. You will need to have like a nice tutorial, an FAQ section, that sort of thing. You can get away with having it on your marketing site or somewhere else, and that could also help people that are trying to get into the product maybe click and purchase. But if you have something more professional, something that seems like it's going to be answering all the questions that any user may have, it makes you look more professional. It makes people more likely to convert. Maybe have like a question: does it support like Tailwind? Does it support like Svelte? They find nothing. They're like, oh no. They go to Starlight. They search for Svelte. They find something and they see that it can support any front-end framework that you'd like, and you're like, all right, let's convert. So you may be in that sort of situation yourself. If you have a product, maintaining documentation is already hard. Presenting that documentation, building a framework to present that documentation is even harder, or maybe not. Let's see how it goes with what we'll be building today. So this is the kind of quick, for my standards, intro on why we're building a documentation website. Of course, I like to show real products in these live streams. I try to make apps that people may use and not just a demo to-do list like Canva board or whatever type of situation. Even though if you look behind the scenes enough, like everything software engineering has been solved before, and you can solve it so long as you can fetch data and mutate data. But that's by the by. The reason for today is that I have a product. I have JOHNNIFY Premium, which you can get today. And there may be questions. There may be like, can I log in with my Google account? Like, why do I need to log in with my GitHub account? And how do I cancel a membership? Is that cool? Does Johnny hate me if I cancel my membership in like 1 month? And the quick answer that I'll put on the docs as well is no. If you just want to show your support, feel free to subscribe and cancel immediately. You will still have access to the thing that I do think is super valuable, all the private code that we do in these live streams, including the starters that we have. You'll have access for it for 1 month. You can clone every repo in the month that you have. So if you are worried that you'll forget to cancel your subscription and just want support for 1 month, feel free to do it and then cancel. So those are the sorts of questions we'll be answering there, as well as what type of starters do I have, what type of experiments, if you decide to work with a starter, such as this JOHNNIFY SaaS app, what do you need to do to set it up? I have instructions in the GitHub, in the README. I quite have a lot of instructions here, but still, you cannot see this README before you are in the private GitHub organization. So how would you know that it has enough instructions for you to get started? The solution that I figured we'll do today is build a documentation website that will live alongside the johnnyfy.com. So probably docs.johnnyfy.com, and call it a day. I could be building everything again in SvelteKit, like fetching the readmes from GitHub and all of that, but then I'd have to worry about how will I build the certs? Like too many things to build for myself. It would be too complicated. And again, I want these projects to be starters for other people, so I don't want to overcomplicate them. And it feels like using Starlight for the docs here is gonna make things awesome by default and extendable enough to be able to give it the own branding that you want and the branding that you may want in the future. So to move on to the next subject, what is Astro? In the chat recently, we had Mikey specifically asking about Astro, what's happening with it, if I've heard of it. And in fact, we have done a few live streams with Astro in the past. It's, again, potentially meta framework. It started as a static web framework, a site generator style framework that was focusing on performance and shipping as little JavaScript on the client as possible, but now I would consider it a meta framework. It's a different choice. For projects that need a lot of APIs, they need a lot of like backend logic, I would still say SvelteKit and Next.js are my top two favorites. With Astro, it's you can do that stuff, but it's gonna be fighting against you, I feel, a little bit. But there are some things that it's amazing at, and we'll see if documentation websites is one of those. The big thing with Astro is that it's a great way to get familiar with the micro frontends architecture, the island architecture of a frontend app, if you've heard of that, because the whole concept is based around that. But again, micro frontends is really like a solution to a problem you may or may not have. The real goal is always, is it performant? Is it easier to extend? Is it easy to solve the problems, the unique problems that you have? One of the things with the micro frontends architecture and the island architecture is that you can mix and match frameworks. So you can have parts of your website be vanilla HTML. You can have parts of your website be Svelte or React. And that would be the common combo that you'd have mostly static, maybe not JavaScript, just HTML parts of the website, and some that are more interactive. And that's where you'd have maybe web components, maybe Svelte, maybe React. But in theory with Astro, you can even mix and match even further. So you can have a part of your website being React, another one being Svelte, another one being Solid or Vue or whatever you please. And it's highly unlikely that's your case. If that's your case, then you're in trouble, most likely. But in my case, that's actually good. That's actually where I'm at, because sometimes I do Next.js and React content, sometimes I do Svelte content. So I would appreciate something that is able to support both Svelte components and React components. So I'm in a unique situation, if I may say so myself, that I do find extreme usability in that extreme use case of mixing and matching, like more than two front-end frameworks. And sometimes I want to experiment with other things, like offline, experiment with Vue and Solid and all those things. If you want me to start talking about those, then let me know in the comments or Discord or wherever, and maybe we'll do something live, and then I'll need to actually bring them in the Astro website that we've built today. We have done a stream on Astro where we talked even more about it. We've built this website that I even got a domain for, because as always, I promise, if someone converts to JOHNNIFY Premium during the live streams, then I will buy a dedicated domain for it. That's where the money goes to, back into the channel. So we've built this bonusxp.dev website that is a bit of a course website that's talking about how to get started with SvelteKit, like a companion to some of my live streams and videos, and also has one implemented silence from the Frontend Mentor website. We've built the Frontend Quiz app as per the spec, but also as per our own branding as well. So feel free to have a click around and see how, well, I've already played this, so it remembers what I've done before, so I cannot cheat and retake the test. But you haven't, so have a click and see how it looks. Pick the theme that you'd like. This is the spec theme, and this is like our own theme. But that's by the by. This is an example of an Astro app that is talking to a server as well. This is an example of Astro working as a meta framework of a sort. Not ideal, but still, you know, you get the view transitions, looks quite nice. It's workable. It's definitely workable, looks good, is performant. Let me know, click around. Is it awesome? Is it not? Again, the Bonus XP website, the idea is that sometimes I will want to implement something like this with vanilla HTML, which I think is the case with what happened here, vanilla HTML and some web components. But sometimes I may want to implement with Svelte, sometimes with React, sometimes with Solid.js, and sometimes I will want to implement twice, like one in React and one in Svelte, and then put it to you, like, do you know the difference? Does the user know the difference if you're using React or Svelte? The answer should probably be no, but where you can't tell the difference is in the development experience, in my opinion. All right, I think this is it for the preamble, and we'll get to the code. Ooh, put another timestamp there, because always check in the description. I have various links to everything, the tooling we're going to use today, the example websites we've built, the example website we're going to be building today, and that playlist where we're implementing that front-end quiz in Astro that I was just talking about. So first step, Docusaurus, again, huge, super popular, that always helps inform the decision that you're gonna make by Meta, so you feel like it's gonna be supported forever. If it were by Google, then you'd be like, maybe they're not gonna stick with it, are they? But if it's Meta, then you feel safe. It's working with React, like the most popular framework, so that's good. But also, that can be limiting if you are specifically looking to work with something else, something other than React. In most cases, you wouldn't mind working with React, let's be honest. But in my case, as I said, I do want to embed in Markdown in MDX some Svelte components, for example. So that's one of the reasons that we're going with Starlight, and also to experiment with it and give it a nice little star, like 10 times, more than 10 times less popular than Docusaurus, but it's growing. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. And as always in chat, let me know what you'd like to see next, what you're working on, that sort of thing. Again, this is inspired by people in the Discord community, people in the chat, like something, you may say anything and it triggers me to investigate something and then build something and make a live stream out of it. You never know. So let's follow this wizard. No ban here. As the package manager, we are using ban for this monorepo. So you may not want to have a monorepo for this, but in my case, I do think it's a great combo. Like I have the JOHNNIFY premium website that is handling all the Stripe webhooks and that sort of thing, the authentication logic. And I would want to also have, besides the web app, the actual documentation app, which I guess I have a documentation for architectural decision records here. You could put the architectural decision records in a searchable docs base as well. Like have the engineering block there, why not? But for now, I am going to be using it in this monorepo, and we are using ban in this, so hopefully we'll make it work. So let's copy this. Again, Starlight is based on the Astro framework. It actually has a really good tutorial that you should go through, Astro, but we'll talk about it more a bit later. Let's quit the lane, we are in that GitHub monorepo that I talked about. We'll go into the apps directory. That apps directory has the web app and has the database as well. And also has like a packets directory, which has a shared Tailwind config that we may be working with in a bit. But for now, we don't want npm. Let's see if just saying bun will make it work. Cute. Wow. They have an animated dude here. Where should we create your new project? Virtual visual. I wonder if that's a randomly generated every time suggested repo name. So in this directory, I am gonna call it docs. So in this apps directory, the docs website. The template is gonna be Starlight. We passed it in. Do you plan to write TypeScript? Yes, please. And strict, sure. Install dependencies, sure. Initialize a new Git repository. You may want this, but we are in monorepo, so we don't want this. We're already in a Git repository, and definitely we don't want nested Git repositories. And then it's working. We have the pretty loading bar, like the little details that make the DevX a bit better. It has picked up that we're using bun for this. So let's see. Here's how you can add React and Tailwind and blah, blah, blah. But let's see what we get. So in the apps docs, did I say welcome from rainy Barcelona for once? Quite unlikely. So from this directory, it's saying do bun dev, and it should start the server. Enemy is like, can't do this. PM dev? Nope. Did the bun install? Did it? So this Astro config, it's like, cannot read it. Let's open and see what we got first. Maybe that's gonna help. We do have the VS Code up and running. And we should have gotten this docs website. It added a VS Code thing that is saying, oh, add the Astro extension. All right. Do we already have it as a recommendation here? Let's add it, why not? And when we launch, speaking about how to do the development server, interesting. It doesn't know that we're on monorepo, so maybe we need to put it somewhere else. I am gonna just delete this directory. In the packetization, it's saying run Astro dev, but I assume everything is the latest version. Great, but this is the thing that doesn't quite work. No modules here, sure. Let me try one other thing as well. We've configured the workspaces. We're using turbo repo and for this monorepo. And we're saying that in the apps directory, you can find any top level directory and assume that it's going to be a different app. And then packets and assume it's going to be a different packets. And we're using bun buckets manager here. And when we say dev, it should run the dev command in every nested script, because we are specifying that we have the task, dev task, never cast it, and it's a long run task. So let's do the classic of deleting node modules, keep the node sense, and bun install again. And run bun dev from the top level. And it looks like that worked. So we've got the Svelkit site running, for example. This is the Svelkit site running locally. And in theory, we should also have the Astro site on 8080, on the port 8080. maybe not. Oh no, that's the... That's the SQL Lite database. That's fair enough. So what did the Astro app do? Astro Dev. Crashed? Oh, 4331. I think it's 4321. Is it just a sequential number? Right, so we got it in the end. We got it in the end, and that's what we get. It's telling us that we can update the content anywhere and see the Markdown X update. Hot reload, we'll see if that's correct. I like the little asymmetric card layout here. Read the docs, kind of classic. It has this happy terminal face, happy face we saw in the terminal as well. It's cute. It has the example guide, and it has the certs already working. Ah, certs is only available in production builds. Interesting. And it has the GitHub repo here, the light and dark mode already set up. Cool. Yeah, so not exactly with the branding that we want, and many things that we'll want to change. And it's saying that this Splash site is in source content docs index. So here, let's see. Index MDX. So the title of this is Welcome to Starlight, indeed. And it looks like it hot reload updates here. Great. Cool. It is using a template, and this is the meta description again, I guess. I won't be doing all the SEO stuff. The hero, so where are we using the hero stuff? Does everything have a hero? What's this? What's the concept of this? We'll need to find that out later. I imagine Houston is this hub phase here. Yeah, indeed. So that's interesting. Can every page have like a hero like this and it gets built like this? What's the component? This is the byline. This is the title of the website. I see. It does hot reload update. Great. And the actions here is this. Interesting. So somehow it's rendering like the hero component, and it's giving it as many actions as say here with using various icons. So I call this, go to the marketing side. We'll add another button here. Sure. The icon is external, and it is external. I wonder if they have an icon for GitHub. They do. That's pretty cool. And no variant makes it this one secondary. Is that the real variant? Oh, nice. Looks cool. And of course, the GitHub org is actually this. And then this is just regular markdown. So it will turn this into an H2 because we haven't configured anything else. We haven't configured which special component should be tackling every H2. So to hashtags means level 2 header. As you can see here. And we have the card grid component. And I guess this stagger property is what's making them be unaligned, which I like. Maybe some people get triggered by this as well. And something I kind of notice at the end here is you also have the Astro toolbar, which is cool as well. So if you have something that does have client-side JavaScript, it will find that micro frontend island and you'll be able to click into it and look into its state. It's similar to the Svelte inspector, but not as cool because for anything that's only HTML, it is not able to figure out where you are. If you remember in SvelteKit projects, nowadays, you can do this and then you can go exactly to where that component lives. So in this case, this is the root homepage, for example. But this, it's like a hero link component. It opens up in there. That's awesome. I think you do get that sort of experience if you're working with hydrated parts of your docs website, of your Astro website. But we're not getting it here because everything is not hydrated, which is cool because it means the user functionality doesn't need any JavaScript to run. So it should be faster. Better UX, lads. And you get something responsive by default. And we have this layout. I wonder what this reference is. We may find it. The guides we talked about here. We click here, we go into a guide. That one doesn't have a hero, but it has a link to the next thing. I wonder how that works. Is this just a... How does this guide know that it goes to this reference? I wonder if it's because they're named the same. So if I name this example 2, it still goes to that one. There must be something that says how that works. Just figuring out on the fly here. But the reference looks like this. Sure. We'll be expanding on these. You get this nice sidebar. It's all looking nice, to be honest. Let's see what else the wizard says. We started the development server and it's saying you can add content. It's saying add it to source content docs, which already has some content for us, the guides and reference, sure. Index.mdx, which we played around with, and it's saying how we can update it, sure. And that's about it. That's about it. So if I wanted, we can see in the sidebar that this appears. I wonder how you can change the order of the timestamp. Let's say that we have, let's copy this example. Let's say, does it have like collections type of thing? No. There must be a way to specify in Astro what type collection we have. There you go. This is configuring the sidebar. I see. Ooh, didn't update this thing. It did. Just took a while longer. Interesting to know. So it looks like just adding starters, for example, portfolio .md, let's say, doesn't match the collections schema. Cool. So where is the schema? There is a schemas here on the other website. So probably not what we want. It's saying that a collection should have a few specific things. So it doesn't mention here exactly what the schema should be. But I imagine that it would need to have front matter, which are the things behind the brackets in the markdown doc. So if we add this front matter, so now it doesn't complain because the front matter was the important thing, yes? The code name for this is my favorite name ever. Ugh, the auto completion is getting me. But there is nothing magic to make the sidebar make it appear. We'll see about configuring the sidebar later. But I can only imagine if we do go to starters portfolio, then we'll find it. There we go. And we could quickly put some things here. So interestingly, in the splash page, we could have the little readme I have in JOHNNIFY org. When you get the invite and you actually get in here, you will be able to see this, including some of the starters you converted through JOHNNIFY, and this is the Nexify, kind of similar. It doesn't have the portfolio starter here, so I should keep this more up to date. 20 repositories to play with, including Godot stuff. So let's see what I have in this starter here. I'll just copy and paste all of this and see where that gets us. So we don't want this bad. Let's save this. All right, so we can see that the code stuff, maybe because it's Bash, has a nice little terminal type of situation, or Windows, like window type of situation going on here. Cool. How does it look in light mode? Ugh. Oh well, I guess some people want light mode. What can you do? And yeah, I'll be changing these offline. It's just a quick look of what you can get. The inline code, the nice code inside this styled window here. Looks cool. And of course, instead of just having this huge page that has all the information, probably each one of these sections should be its own section, and it's a bit easier to walk around. And I guess in the index file, we could say this actually gets you to starters portfolio. Fast. No view transitions, which we may set up in the future, but that's a quick look. That's pretty cool. How to update Interesting. It has this specific Astro upgrade command. And I say interesting because in this monorepo, I do what I do in every monorepo, which is have npm check updates. This is a package published in 2 npm. And you can run npm check updates and get a nice UI, and it works with monorepos that will tell you, will go through each dependency in everything in this monorepo and tell you if there is an update or not. I guess I could have a look. I could do a little demo of what it does. So I can do banner and update, and it will run that package and it will check everything. And you can see that Astro has a much newer version, and Sharp as well. So you can click that and it will upgrade just nicely. But and then died. Interesting. These node modules, they always need to be fresh. I guess so. And I also have a bun format that runs prettier on everything. Everything seems to work. So I have this thing to upgrade things, but I guess to update the sub packages, they want us to upgrade like this. So in our docs packetization, thunderstorm here, hope my internet stays. Let's see if I run like this upgrade command in that directory specifically. Oops. Bun, not random bun. DLX, not a real thing. Pim DLX, like a real thing. It's bun X, bun execute. Interesting. So maybe, I don't know if this would run any other manual migration commands. That's the thing I'm worried about. That sometimes when the repo maintainers are awesome, this can happen in Next.js, it can happen in SvelteKit very often. If you have a troublesome migration that code generation tool can solve it, they do create something that will do the hard work for you. So if they're like, all right, now in SvelteKit, instead of lowercase letters for the request handlers, get, post, put, now we want uppercase, they will create a migration helper that will do that work for you. Will figure out what the request handlers you're exporting was and rename them as needed. So if you upgrade the way I showed before with npm check updates, I guess that won't happen. If they're awesome, when you try to start, it should tell you that you've changed something, that you will need to run the migration helper. But if not, like, check out for this. So what's out? You may not be able, like, it will take a bit more of a notice to do my npm check updates trick that I always recommend. If you see that it's the Astro dependencies that got an update, maybe run the upgrade command instead of doing it through npm check updates, which you can easily do because npm check updates does give you the list of changes and you can just not tick Astro and then know that you need to go in this directory and run the upgrade command like so. Sir, anything else? General stuff, it does recommend to go through the tutorial. So I guess this is a good point where we can talk about the other templates that they have and their awesome tutorial. Astro. It's got other themes. Starlight is one theme of the Astro framework. A lot of them are community managed. So if you see the with Astro, it's one of the official ones, let's say. But you can get premium themes from anybody. It doesn't mean that they're not good. It doesn't mean that only the official team can make good themes. And some of them are paid. But have a look. If you're not looking to learn everything yourself, you could get, at the very least, some inspiration on what they've got there. And much like we started with template Starlight, you could start from any template that you see here. Personally, I do like to mix and match, so I will see things that look nice and figure out, oh, what are they using? Like, what technologies are they using in this project? And then try to bring it in manually. They have like an RSS feed, but maybe like you go through the themes and you're like, this is exactly what I want. And you can get started by that. Again, I always recommend setting things up yourself at the first time through. So you understand some decisions, you face some of the problems, you understand why some things are how they are. And then you can upgrade to using someone else's hard work to get you started, because then if you do get stuck, if you do need to customize just a tiny bit from what the other person has done, it's a bit easier because you have used the app yourself. Besides this, besides the themes to start with, they do have an awesome tutorial that I do suggest you go through, how to build a blog. Oftentimes I am asked, how do I build a blog? Sometimes I'm specifically asked, how do I build a blog in SvelteKit? And I do think that quite a few people have based their Next.js and Markdown implementation with this thing I wrote like 3 years ago. Like, some things are a bit telltale, which is great. I write those things and do the live streams so people can copy stuff from them, learn and build their own. But when I wrote this, Astro didn't exist. And there were other websites that were more specialized on creating a blog, sites like, or solutions like 11D, for example, Gatsby, Hugo, those projects that you may have heard of. But I really wanted to do Next.js in that case, and even now I like doing SvelteKit because I know that I use it for more complicated projects. But if you're doing it for learning purposes and you want to create a blog in SvelteKit, or Next.js, then go for it. But if you want the utility, if you want for a client to build something and that's it, I would strongly suggest going through the Astro docs on how to build a blog, because Astro is amazing at that. The SEO, the searchability, the performance against the core web vitals, it's not foolproof, but it's good by default. And I'm just trying to find the starter again. Not there, not there. Here. I saw that they have like a very similar search, and I was like, I'm still there. So this has tons of steps. If you want me to go through it at some point, do let me know. I have gone through it in the past, but it talks about Astro specifically, the island architecture, and many more things, hydrating with various frameworks using web components. There are many cool things that you will be able to learn just going through this, including RSS feeds. So lots of things that you will learn here, and you will have a very performant, very functional blog at the end of it. So strongly recommend this one. As always, no affiliations whatsoever. I just show tools that I think are cool in these live streams. And after this, let's keep going with seeing how to customize the docs website we're building here further. So yeah, I think localhost 4321 is the cool one for any Astro project. That's where they start the server. I think that's neat. No conflict with the existing ones, and it's nice, easy to remember. So the favicon is still the Starlight logo. Maybe I want my own here. And the background is not exactly on brand, like the brand color. It's this sky blue, it's not purple. There is some purple in this person here, but probably not what we want. So let's keep going. Let's see how we can customize with the Starlight template. They're saying here, in assets, you can paste in the logo, and then in the Astro config, you can add its location here. So let's see. And does it need to be an SVG? Oh, and it will add it by the title. But if it's not an SVG, does it have to be an SVG? I think it will do something cool, and it doesn't have to be an SVG. But from JOHNNIFY Premium, we have this J here. We got this J going. So from that side, on static, do they want the biggest version here? I suppose. I think the biggest one is the Android Chrome one. So in assets, let's say we have the favicon or the logo. Let's call it logo. And in the Astro config, in just logo, I guess. Sure. There's a logo key. And I need to point it to logo PNG. And magically, will it update eventually? Well, it updated here, which is quite cool. Ah, and interesting. So now it gets printed alongside the title of the website. Sure. If it actually spelled out, if it was a logo type, it had the logo and the type itself. You can actually set this true, and then it should only show just the logo. But that's not the case for us, so we'll keep it like this. Sure. But that's not the favicon. You can have a different one for light and dark versions. That's awesome. You can generate a sitemap if you know what the website is. I wonder if we need to get this dynamically. Or maybe it just doesn't matter. Anything on favicons here? No. So all we need is the root domain. And the root domain should be docs.johnnyfy.com. I think that's where we'll deploy by the end of this live stream. And that's it, really. Talk about robots.txt. Do we have one? Nope. Let's do this. It says to generate it dynamically. I guess this gets built on build time because we'll be deploying statically. So let's try to do this. Why not? They're saying in source pages, create a robots.txt.ts. So we'll be using TypeScript to generate this file. So in docs source, there is no pages. Interesting. So in pages directory, we want our robots.txt, and we'll be using TypeScript to generate it. And it's saying import this, dynamically use the site URL. And I guess this should be the defaults. And I wonder, so we need this integration. We need this integration. Sitemap. And to also put it in robots next. So let's see if just run banex asrat sitemap, what happens. Nope, I don't want you to use yarn. And it's saying it's just gonna be importing these things. So yeah, we did nothing. Because all we need really is to manually bring this in. Ban add D. Good, now we have it. So now it should be happy. Maybe not. Recognized key called site. Says. Where did we put the site thing? Too high? Too low? We should have put it not in integrations, in define config. Here. should be happier now. Seems to have worked. And what about including this thing? Sitemap. Oh, Starlight just has it, so we will be fine. Starlight just has it. So that's why I was a bit confused. Because here they are saying no, where are we directly bringing in that thing? Not sure. It was crashing before because it was like, oh, we don't have this library. We brought in the sitemap one. Are we using it anywhere? We are not. So if we uninstall again, will it work less? Will it work more? Just want to try out. Maybe the problem was that they put it on their own key. So uninstall again. Restart the server again. Run format again. A different directory. And I guess in theory they'll want this site. This should be generated on a sitemap. That's all we've been doing. So this runs again. If I go to / sitemap index, not found. Yeah, why not? Where will the sitemap be? Sitemap index XML. Maybe they only build it in production. Maybe. Anyway, until I try this, I'm not going to include it in the head as they're claiming here. But this one is working. So yeah, I will think that only when you build it, it actually creates a sitemap, because it may be taking quite a while for that to happen. Cool. Table of contents, sure. You can customize it. So let's see, we have the starter guide. And on the right, I guess it has all the anchors, and you can customize whether you want the H2s to be included or not. Quite handy, to be honest. And how does it look? The smaller screen. Ah, right. They have this on this page navigation. You can go like this. Quite nice. I like it. I like it. Cool. And yeah, anything else on customizing Starlight? I'm sure there are more. Social links. There you go. GitHub, Discord, all these things. These are good ideas. Supported icons is here. Instagram, awesome. And the ordering, did they manage to do ordering even though it's an object? Who knows? So in astroconfig, they have this social thing. And the social, I guess, should be the JOHNNIFY org. Or maybe specifically this project. The Discord should be the Discord link. It is in this site as well. Oh, and the YouTube. Can't forget the YouTube. The farm is in the way. And the YouTube. This is where we are now. This is where you're watching this. And magically, there you go. Links to all three. And even though you can't depend on the order of object operatives, they are using them to render them like this. So that's interesting. And good to know. And it seems like, you know, now in modern browsers, I do think this will work. If you don't know, in array, if you want something to be in a specific order guaranteed, you use an array. But if you are brave enough, you could actually use the ordering of an object keys to actually order it. But it's not guaranteed to work in every browser. With objects in JavaScript, anything goes. All right, so we've done the quick social stuff. Edit links. Can display an edit page in each page's footer. So if you are in the JOHNNIFY docs, you can actually get a link to whatever. Like we have the portfolio MD, and you're like, oh, this link is broken, or you have a typo here. Then it would actually get you to the specific place of the website. Let's see how that works. The base URL is this. All you need to do. All right, let's enable this. In the Starlight plugin, we are in the Starlight plugin. Let's say here, edit link. This is going to be JOHNNIFY. Well, let's find it. Apps, it's not going to be web, but it's going to be similar. So monorepo, edit, main, apps, docs, and then, is that correct? Maybe it's correct. Maybe that example was exactly what we wanted. Yeah, I think that's it. So in here, at the end of the page, they have the edit page thingy, and it is getting us to the correct one. It's just that we haven't deployed this yet. Cool. So it goes to docs, source content docs starters. Is that correct? Apps, docs, source content docs starters, portfolio MD. Correct. Nice. So these are things that if I was trying to build this from scratch in SvelteKit, it would take me weeks, and it's taking me like a bit over an hour, and I've been talking a lot. A custom 404 page. I guess we won't do now. Let's see how the non-custom one looks. Monorepo. Sure. Disabling this for some reason. Custom fonts, sure. It is saying just use sans serif fonts available on a user's local device for all text, which is fair enough. I like this. If you must add a custom font, if you desperately want to make your doc site slower, you can set it up like you'd like, including in the way that I recommend in my video. The stop using Google fonts video, which you should have a look there, which is to use font source. I saw it right in the thumbnail, so like if you squint you can see it, or if the thumbnail is big you don't need to click through. I don't do the tricks that make channels get the views, because I just want to be helpful. So do I actually want this? It is gonna... So they use the same font everywhere, I guess. And the question is, do I want to use my other font in some specific cases, like headers, like the typewriter font or something? And so do we try to do that? I guess we should. Let's look at our app CSS, I guess, which is looking at this. This package. What am I importing? Is the dev server not running? Don't really know. Am I not using a different font for this? Source. I guess I am not. Cool. Cool of me that I took the advice that they also have. So font sans, what am I doing here? Yeah, I'm just using the system's UI. Great. So it looks consistent, like nothing fancy, nothing else, right? So I went past Johnny from last year, went for maximum speed here. So no flare anywhere, no headings with like a different link. I like that. I like that. Yeah, you can still watch the video to see how we would do it. Slightly different because in the video for this Docusaurus app, we go into the layout at some point and import the font source package, kind of like this. But here there is a special key Starlight provides, custom CSS, where it tells you what to preload. So similar, but slightly different. Slightly. Cool. So we won't actually be using this, but can move on with our lives. Amazing. Next up, customizing the sidebar. Let's see what we have so far. So not Tailwind for all of that stuff. I thought it'd be kind of easier. But what we do have is whenever you start browsing the content, you do get a sidebar on the left. And how is that set up? That's how we're going to find, that's what we're going to do right now, because we have the portfolio starter guide, for example, as a hero thing to click, as the first thing to click when you make it to this website. However, it doesn't appear on the sidebar. Why not? and we kind of saw this earlier in the live stream as we were experimenting, that by default it will it would have just worked, but because they've overridden the configuration, then it's not working. Sure. So let's see it. In Astro config, they have a sidebar configuration here. If it didn't have it, then the sidebar would have worked just fine. It would have the starter thing and tell you, oh, you're there. But because it did have the sidebar key, it only shows the things that I've put in here. So if you don't want everything that is in the FAQ to actually be on the sidebar, I don't know why you wouldn't want this. In its alphabetical order according to the slug. Maybe that's why you wouldn't want this, because you want the order to be different. Order. Lower numbers are higher up. So you can specify in the markdown where you want this. Interesting. Cool. So let's see if we can do without specific configuration. Does it capitalize? Capitalize? No. So by default, it doesn't capitalize them. I guess I could be capitalizing the directory names themselves, but that feels like so wrong. Like here, I could be saying guides uppercase. They're showing them lowercase. It does feel a bit weird. And in here, like it doesn't say anything about this group. It just sees that it's here. And even if I were to specify, like I am specifying a title here, for example, I wouldn't be able to specify the label for that group. Sure. And customizing, yeah, in the specific example, in the specific page, you can say something else, but not in the group. I see. Can I do star? I guess not. I guess it wouldn't be. But, you can do auto-generated. Great. That's it. That's all we need. There you go. There you go. So in Astro config, we will have a sidebar, which is going to be an array, and it's going to have starters label, and the directory is going to be starters, and ensure that this is first. There you go. And we can have like a experiments directory, which doesn't exist for now. So let's say we have like the reference link anywhere. Not the best thing. But it feels like we do not. Guides, do we have guides anywhere else? Not really. Let's turn this into experiments. This is where the Godot stuff will live, for example. And let's say that this is the FAQ section. So in the sidebar, maybe that's what we want. So now the FAQ will be first, nicely titled, and it will look like this. Good. And I saw something about specific links. But it's about external ones. Can use the slug here. There's an. I'm thinking I will want a couple things being like, how do I sign up? But maybe I can just put them there. I won't say too much here, I just want to see how it's gonna look. So we have the FAQ section. We can go to how do I sign up, go to how do I cancel. Great. And since we're here, how do I sign up? You can sign up. So at I won't be doing the marketing copy here too much. But let's see how it looks. You will need the biggest value. Markdown. Let me know in the Discord. In the cancel section. Whoops. So in here, plunk. There you go. Next it finds the next documentation, I suppose. Cool. So how do I cancel? Great question. We could embed a screenshot here. If you have JOHNNIFY Premium, which I don't have on my main account, because I don't want to pay myself, you'll have a manage my subscription button, which we could see locally. I guess I could see it here. Not logged in. Oops. Anyway. It changes in the sign up page. Whoops. Oh well, I guess when they look the same, we have this problem. I'll be melodramatic off screen. We'll all right, so quick one here. Sure, looks fine. So the search we said is only for production builds. we'll see if that works later. It's nice to have like a bit of content to play around with. So we have 2 FAQ questions. That's it. Experiments. Games. Doesn't really matter. Subdirectories, I guess, should also work. I can specify them here, so it should be fine. Submitted for working fan. Have another one in the works. Let me know if you want to see more coding live streams. So we are on the sidebar configuration here. Let's see if it's gonna work. Kind of by default. James Scully. Right. Good. And what else? I think we also have labels to add here. Badges. Custom styling on the badges. Can I have more than one? Nope. So that's the one. So interesting. Can I mess with the level of this? Probably not. Sub items here. Right, so instead of auto-generating here, it feels like I should specify the items. That's for this one. So 5. There you go. Yes, all of these are gonna be Kodo. Let's say pads. Kodo. What will it say? This. Sure. Yes, all games are gonna be Kodo. Just thinking about it. And what else? Like one of them could be Next.js, one of them could be Svelte 4. I guess I could have like the memory game. I suppose. I'm not gonna do it now. We'll see. Just we're showing the buttons here. Sure. Custom HTML attributes, including the href, so it will open a new window. Internationalization, that's another huge thing that to do it by default in SvelteKit, even though the libraries are maturing every day, it's still quite hard. Here, you can just specify a different directory and it will magically work. I have done the internationalization with Astro and it works quite well. Collapse by default if you want, sure. All right, I think that's it for this section. Cool. Cool. Bit of a long experimental section. Hope you liked it. Let's move on to working with components, which is a huge benefit of MDX. This should be fun, working with components. One of the key reasons that people love working with MDX is when you want to include a component you've made in like React or SvelteKit or Svelte or whatever else. Like so. So in your documentation, you have your regular markdown, you have a header, you have your content, and suddenly you're rendering a component. What's that about? And this is exactly what we'll be seeing here. In this case, we are using the card and card grid components that I guess you'll need to expose your own if you want to style them, or maybe they have like some other attributes that you can mess around with. But usually Astro works with web components, so you don't need to bring in the Svelte integration or the React integration or whatever thing you want. But sometimes, like in my site, I have examples of various components, various React components. Not that one, this one. So what do I have here? For timestamps, do I have something here? There you go. So this is an embedded React component. You click, it updates. As it happens, even the tweet button, RIP Twitter, is a React component rendered in Markdown. Maybe other examples in a few other places, but it doesn't really matter. This is the main thing that you want. You have your guide, you have your coding guide, and then at some point you have your Svelte or React component, and you want to include it within the document, so you don't have to go to StackBlitz or Code Sandbox or wherever else. You want the user to stay on your site and see it working. It's cool. It's neat. So to have that interactive component is why MDX was created. So it's Markdown with JSX, I guess, even though it seems like we'll be able to use it with Svelte as well. And in this case, I imagine that the Astro components are actually web components, or they're using their own like Astro template thing, not JSX. Let's see what they have. Let's see some examples. It seems that they haven't figured out how to do the path alias in here to bring in it from anywhere. I guess you must be able to do it somehow, because is there a tsconfig? No. Yes. So there is a tsconfig, and it's extending this. Great. So I imagine you can do like a path alias somewhere, and you don't need to hand down the components like this. Yeah, it seems like they're suggesting you should use the Astro templating system, which is kind of Markdown. The properties are like the front matter in Markdown, and then the rest looks like JSX. Anyway, There are some built-in components like this, tabs. Sure, the cards, which we do like. Link cards that highlight when you hover them and they have a little icon. Sure. Link buttons, we've seen them. Sides, so this is kind of interesting, especially when you're doing code. You may want to have this just to shake people up and be like, whoa, like check this out, get their attention back by dashing some more color here. Code blocks, of course you can just do the markdown style of specifying some code like this. And then it should work. I guess we'll try this out. You can show the file tree. Great. You can even highlight some of them. It's awesome. Stepper like this, 1, 2, 3. Badges, sure. Any icon from this list. Awesome. So where do we want to showcase this? These are the built-in icons, and of course you may create your own as well. What I've done in other websites is, I still have it here, like a bit of a login. Output links, like if you link to GitHub or if you link to YouTube, I like them having the icon of the outbound platform where you're going to as well. So if you like that, you can have an outbound link component that takes an icon and creates a link that also has it like this. I think it's kind of nice. So if you think it's nice, it will create it for you. You can create your own reusable component to put in elsewhere. So don't own this, don't own this. What do I want? What do I want? We've shown that the code does just work. So I'm not quite sure. Does it know svelte? Let's put it at the top as an example. Remember, I think it understands well. So interesting, when it's not sh, when it's not bash, it doesn't give you this thing that looks like the terminal. Cute touch. It gives you something that looks like VS Code, I guess. Cool. And you can probably customize the font, the theme for this, and use like dark blue or something like that. Nice. Nice. Right. So Svelte 4 for this one. But Paulina Peppers is using Svelte 5. And this hot reloads, sure. Everything just works. Let's see. Selling Starlight with Tailwind. We may see that one. Astro highlighting. Expressive code. Wow. You can mark some lines, you can mark anything. Cool. Insert delete, it's really, really cool. User configurable color theme. Where do you specify the theme? Ah, there you go. In here you can specify some, and the default is the Starlight dark or light according to what you want. And title theme, I guess. Maybe. I wanted to specify the one. Like the theme of your editor is very important. That's why we're spending quite a lot of time. So yeah, here it says, read this. Supported theme formats. If I just say dark color, will it just work? Theme. VS Code theme support. Wow. Themes. Good. Bundle themes. Good. Dracula is one. Great. Just put it here. There you go. Which one am I using here? Dracula. Sure. So in Astro config, in Starlight, specify themes here and say Dracula, I suppose. And save in the right place. Maybe not. Ah, expressive code themes. Whoops. Whoops. All right, looks much better. And on blind, your eyes make users blind mode. How does it look? Ugh. So it's using the solarized light, I guess. Is there another one that's like kind of lighter? Does this and this look the same to you? I think they do. Maybe this is where Monokai returns. Oh, synthwave. Synthwave is awesome. But it's not using it. because I guess it thinks it's the dark mode one. Have like 2 dark mode ones. Any other way to do this? There must be something they say, like in their config, whether it's light or dark. Data theme. Is this thing adding a data theme to the website like we do? Yeah. So let's see if that helps. Not really. Yeah, it's because they're both light themes. So can I not specify like light, dark like I can for the logo? It's not. Unfortunate. Yes, I could bring it in and spread it and then specify whether it's light or dark. I think that's too much work. I think they have a key where they say light, true, false, or what the name should be. Doesn't matter. Just use Dracula, the best one anyway, and move on with your life. And we don't actually want that example. And it was just to see if there is felt support. Whoops. All right, so maybe we'll actually want to build our own component. Let's see, let's keep reading. These are the built-in components, they have icons, they have everything. And custom components, you just hunt them down, I suppose, sure. But let's see the overriding components section. Oh. And this is about overriding the existing components like the card, which is fine. But how do I specify the markdown stuff? Like I want to specify some component. I guess it's here where you can specify different plugins, different components. Oh, customizing cheeky. Don't really want to do that. Just want to see if it's like an outbound link, then I want to automatically do this. This thing where I have the GitHub icon in there. Do I have an example of this? So here, I have the content and the href. Let's build one. Let's build the outbound link. Does it have children? Yes, with slots like Svelte kit, Svelte 4 and below. Interesting. So let's try to use this. Let's create a source. Components. Outbound link .astro. Again, we could bring in Svelte or React or Solid or whatever, but why not start? Why not use Astro, which compiles just HTML, doesn't hydrate anything. Even if you were to bring in React or Svelte, Astro during build time will compile to something that doesn't need the JavaScript actually. But why not write in the language that Astro recommends instead of the one that you'd like? I guess the answer is because you want to reuse components, which is fair enough. Which is fair enough. Right, so I don't want anything here. I want this to have an href and children. Which I don't need to specify, so just the href is what I want. And they did mention something about an icon component, didn't they? Right at the end. This. Bring it. And use it. And not quite formatted, which is interesting. Maybe I need an Astro plugin or something. Maybe. We'll check that out. What else do we need? We need, say no color, no nothing. TypeScript. There you go. It will magically know. Oof, how do I get the icon props? Let's find it somewhere in not modules. Astro Starlight user components icon. It's this, but this doesn't get exported, I guess. I guess this doesn't get exported, sadly. Yeah, I can't type this. I'll need to magically be able to do this. It doesn't export this. Not great. Yeah, none of this would help. And I guess these icons aren't exported anywhere. TypeScript problems for no reason. If I do type of icon, it's not gonna expose the props. Sure. Right? Not the real thing. Oh well. Oh well. And let's say that we have this, and what I'm claiming is that here let's call it type. I guess I could be manually writing it in line, and then it doesn't matter. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So just the slots here, nothing. This just gets an href. Sure. I'm stealing this. Here in the portfolio, and what I want is to import this component. Before or after the front matter, who knows? Change this to MDX for sure. Let's part. And then let's see, MDX right, we're getting somewhere. I want this to be an outbound link with an href of this. Unfortunately, VS Code is not helping this. Import it. I can manually do it from here. Try again. Sometimes reload works. It should be defined. This should be fine too. It's like this is all we want. What's the problem? Interface, the props, and the template. It couldn't be that we're using this, surely. Components, output link, looks correct to me. Do I have the Astro plugin? I do. So what is the problem here? Unknown. Do they have like link kinda? Link cards, link buttons. That's neither of what I want. Let's try to use the icon first. See if that works. Right, so that exists, and I guess I could try to do like an inline thing, figure it out later. This is the link. That's all I wanted before. I I do want this to be like its own component. That kind of looks like this. What do we have in the agenda? Not that much. So we'll do like a quick Tailwind update. So now it will open a new window, which is what we want. And I want this to have like some styles, but I will use Tailwind instead of Starlight here. Anyway, doesn't really matter. The link here has quite a few things. What we were trying to do before was, how can I extract this into an Astro component? That was my question. And let's try again, like YouTube component. Let's say that here in the templating, it's actually Astro Starlight. So yes. So this is hard-coded, and here, instead of importing this, can I import the YouTube link? The other thing it could be is that maybe this is the default export. The default export. That was it. Okay, sorry. That was the problem before. So our outbound link was actually all right. And we can still use the outbound link. We found out that it's just the default export. Whoops. It will need an href. What's going to be this? And it's going to need the icon side by side. So the icon is going to be this, and therefore we'll need to import it. And the href is going to be this, it also needs children. Cool. And how do we style the components? Tailwind style tag. So it is gonna have scoped styles. Cool, like so. This makes me think that I can just specify that the anchor should have color red. Let's see if we can hit it. This YouTube link component, we don't need it. This thing, does it actually work? As easy as adding a style tag. I've added a style tag. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Why not? Why is this a p tag? It's kind of crazy. Ugh, it's because it's on its own line. Yeah, take it back. This doesn't make sense. Oof, and somehow this color gets overridden from further specificity because we are in like in this component. Interesting. Yeah, too complicated, I'd say. More specific. Ah, the p tag. So we have the anchor tag, which has a p tag, and inside the p tag, it has this thing. That's crazy. So yeah, mixing the markdown here is not great. Not great. So actually, what could be better? Well, not better, but in this case, is to have a YouTube link. Which is gonna be importing again from the same library. Thank you for bearing with me. And he's gonna be doing this. But instead of taking this as a slot, unfortunately, because of the weird markdown parsing that this is doing, let's have like a label string. And also let's remember to do the target blank stuff. But it doesn't work here. Not ideal. But hey. And let's go here, actually use the YouTube link. It's now self-closing, takes a label, like so. Good. No need for this, no need for this. Maybe not for this. All right, SVG and this, great. Nope. So it should be row. Why is the gap not quite working? Let's do this, I guess. Sure. Align items. Center. Justify. Yeah, looks fine. Ah, but then it puts it in a different p tag. Oh well. So it does feel like we need something more complicated, like the remark or rehype plugin that checks for links and then sees if this particular link is a YouTube link, then you use like this component or whatever. Too confusing. So let's go back to what we had before. Not to mess around further. Just the regular markdown. Don't get too fancy. But we've shown how you can work with it. At least something. Yes, actually, just markdown. Just markdown, please. Don't forget this components ever happened. And we'll see if we'll think about it more later. At some point, we may do like Tailwind Setup. But maybe not. Maybe that's deployments where we'll finish today. So, time for certs. My little puppy just came. Missed me, but came to sleep. Thank you for sticking with me through this mostly UI rabbit hole. Let's look at certs, one of the key features. Full text search powered by page find, this tool. Cool. So you don't need to specifically set something up. If you want some things to not be part of search, then you add this data tag, or if you want the whole page to be hidden, you add this. Great. Algolia is a super popular one, but I think you need to pay for this, so we won't be using it today. But I think that's it about the search. All that remains for us to do, if it works. So if I press the command palette, like Command K or click this, it says that this is only available in production builds. So let's see if we can actually build this. if we consult our package.json, we'll see that there will be a build command, and then we can run preview and see the build output. So run build, and good luck to us. All right, so it seems it did a lot for search. One language English, 6 pages, this many words. Created the sitemap, great. So it looks like it is gonna work. If we run the preview script, it's gonna run this on a different server. Great, so this is the production build. Looks fine. Good. And from any page, command palette, Tailwind. Oh, it finds that in this page, it's mentioned a couple times. Cool. Game, just here. That's all. Awesome. So this would be something that needs a lot of work to do it manually, or you'll need to integrate with a third party, which will still be a bit of work and maybe a decent amount of money. But here's a way to do it quickly and for free. Search for the site. YouTube will be in everything. Nice. And by default, it looks pretty sleek, if I may say so myself. Cool. Quick one. Personalization, we did talk a little bit about this. It's the latest versions of Astro. I think on 3.5. Which version are we on Astro now? 4.5 maybe, because now we are on 4.15. They started bringing in personalization support based on directories. So it's the same idea here. It's the classic way to do it with Astro. And for me, I guess I would do English and Greek, my classic one, EN and EL. But could be anything you please, kind of quickly, and search is gonna work as well. Cool. By default, this is monolingual in English. If you want it to be monolingual Spanish or Mandarin, something else, you can specify it here. Great. And I think if you specify the default locale, it will show the English website by default. There's another UI that's quite interesting, quite complicated, but mostly we're going to be discussing about this. Other features that I'd want to talk about, I think this is pretty much it, really. So we can get on with deployment. I've been really enjoying working with Cloudflare and deploying to Cloudflare recently, but I've also been enjoying deploying to Vercel, and it is where I've deployed JOHNNIFY Premium as well, and Vercel supports monorepos, so that's what we'll try to do now. We will be deploying it as a static site, so we don't have anything that requires a server to be deployed, so we won't need to add this adapter. If you did, for example, maybe there is something you can do with having your search also be generative Q&A, so chat style, ask a question and then it tries to find the answer by relaying to something like ChatGPT or ChatGPT through LangChain. If you want to do that, you would need a server to process these requests, but why not? I would say leave this for a different type of website. This website, just leave it as this. And therefore, all we'll need to do, I think, let's just go to the Vercel dashboard. I am in the JOHNNIFY team and I want to add another one. And I'll hit the monorepo again. Oh, I haven't actually committed all the things we've done here. There is some things that's like placeholder stuff. But maybe that's fine. Let's look at the index. Is this just... Are the colors just 1 to 3? Like no matter what you do, the second one is going to be purple. Yeah, interesting. Did we say something about card links? Link cards, rather. Check out your monorepo of choice. Just don't have this, and you're good to go. Actually, the colors of this are kind of like these colors. That's kind of neat. So yeah, I won't worry too much about this because we just want to do the deployment demo. So anything in the root readme that we want. Yes. Let's add this one too. Anything else? Like prettier. Prettier Astro. Prettier. Prettier. Nothing. A false alarm. Prettier. Editor setup. Right. We do need this plugin, so let's add it. That's fine. It wasn't working before. I don't want this. We want at the workspace root. This. Oh, just adds it. Doesn't say, do you really want to add it in the workspace? Answer is yes. And the prettier config. Prettier plugin Astro. So that's something to remember. To set up prettier, you also need the Astro plugin. And I think for Markdown it will work the same. It's just the .astro file that we were having trouble with before. Cool. So also include this. Yeah, in the correct place. Sync this up, push to main, no worries, no fear, never. And let's push this to production. As always, let me know, do you think this is gonna work first time? I don't know why the favicon hasn't changed. Maybe because it's not an SVG. Anyway, here in Vercel, in the Vercel dashboard, I've pressed, let's do it again. I'm in my org, or it can be on your own account, which is now an org. You add a new project. Even if you've had a different app in the monorepo, you still need to do this. And you can kind of see it has two icons here. It has the SvelteKit icon, or the Svelte icon, and the Astro icon here. So it knows, Vercel knows. It's looking at our apps directory. And let's call it JOHNNIFY docs. The framework preset is Astro. And that's quite clever because I haven't done anything, but it knows that I haven't deployed this docs directory, and it immediately goes to there. It knows that I have the JOHNNIFY project, this one, already deployed from this monorepo, and it's like, you probably want to deploy the other one. That's neat. And I won't be messing with the build and output settings because it's realizing that it's Astro, no environment variables here. I guess if we used Algolia certs, we'll need to add the API keys for that one, but everything is going to be done at build time without the need of any secrets or anything as it stands. So click deploy. Let me know how awesome you think will be. Will it work first time? Will we get the fun confetti? I think we will. I think it's going to be decently fast since we don't have enough content. I'll need to play around later offline and actually write up a bit on the starters that we have. I guess even here on the bottom right of your screen, I only have the premium starter highlighted. But we do have tons and tons of projects. Some of them are meant to be starters. Some of them can be starters, like specific apps like the Chrono app or the Trivia Train if you want to have a TAT app with an OpenAI integration, and Vercel's AI SDK as a layer, so you can actually switch between OpenAI and Claude or whatever you want. We have apps for that, but there are some that are a bit more generic, so they may be easier to work with as starters than Trivia Train, for example. But lots and lots of apps. So these docs, I think, are going to be helpful to actually see what may be right for you. So my hope is that I'll be able to go to the doc site and you search for AI, and then it's like, oh, these 3 projects have AI or LLM functionality in there, and you can search for Svelte 5, and it's like, oh, these projects are doing this. Or you search for Svelte 4, and you're like, oh, the monorepo is doing this. Or search for Stripe or subscriptions, and then you see this. But also the Supabase project that is doing real-time subscriptions. That's the one you may want to see. And the work on my part is to write up the content, which I kind of already have, because as we've seen, the repos do have an extensive README. But then it's Astro Starlight that is doing the hard work to do pretty much everything, including the search. So that's been quite cool, easier than I thought, as easy as advertised, and it's advertised to be quite easy indeed. This has taken a while. Deployment complete, it says. They're just trolling us. I'll attempt a refresh. Maybe I shouldn't have had. It has worked. It just didn't give us a confetti. So if you thought we'd get confetti, you were wrong. If you thought we'd deploy first time, we did. Let's see if we can set up a custom domain for this. Let's see. There you go. Search works. You don't need to pay anything every time people search. It's just fine. Tailwind. Again, here does get you to the right place. You have the sidebar. It automatically updates along with your scroll bar as you scroll further down. You have the other things. Perfect. Light mode, dark mode, everything. Sweet. The social links, awesome. What else do we need, if anything? Yeah, the domain. So I would like this to be in a custom domain. So can I do docs.johnnyfy.com? If the question. Looks like the answer is yes. Done. Easy. So I did buy this domain through Vercel, which is more expensive than doing it with a Cloudflare registrar. But this means that it just works when you do stuff like that. Nice. So I will need to do a deployment in the monorepo for this website to also point you to the docs once the docs are up to snuff. Maybe create a nice SVG icon so it can be here as a nice part of the link, because the fav icon for some reason was not respected. Oh well, maybe I should have just named it favicon.ico. Hello, baby bath duck. Oh, I love rubber duckies. I have multiple colors for every bubble bath. And yeah, we did it. Cool. So lots of instructions in the JOHNNIFY org, but you can only see this if you have JOHNNIFY Premium. So I would like to expose this in this documentation website with the certs. I think that's gonna be it. I think we'll do just another demo. Like, should we set up Tailwind? Like for like, there is nothing that I would like to customize at the moment. Maybe the favicon. So let's see. It wants an SVG. Maybe not. Do we have a favicon? Oh, it's here. That's why. In this public directory, they have the favicon.icon. That's why it's appearing here. But let's see if the deployments work. We have other favicons, don't we? Not the biggest favicon in the world, but we can at least have our own. Let's see, let's remove this. Will it just work? Let's try again. Not quite. I wonder if it only needs a favicon here. It's trying to find favicon SVT. So there must be, like, I explicitly searched for this. But it seems behind the scenes Starlight is looking for a favicon somewhere. Oh. You can do variants and stuff. Like this, interesting. So I can actually paste everything I have there. Sure. But I'll just do the one quickly. So in the Astro config, let's specify favicon. It's favicon.ico. Like that. All right, we're golden. Creator didn't quite format. It's slightly worrying. But hey. And it seems like there is a hidden Astro directory that I should be ignoring with Prettier. So let's take care of that too. Yeah, nothing. Didn't try to format this time. Cool. Favicon exists. I'll generate a different logo as well as homework. But with our Vercel deployment, let's see what's happening here. It took 39 seconds, but we were stuck on this page for like 3 minutes. I don't know why. Let's see if it's gonna work again. And it is gonna be a deployment to production. So I would have appreciated if it did specify the production domain that we've mentioned, docs.johnnyfy.com. Is it going to be the same thing where it's actually been built? They're not saying anything. There you go. Ah, and the domain is indeed correct, even though it gets us here. Docs. JOHNNIFY.com. There you go. We're here. It works. Anything else to set here? Before I forget, I need to disable the most useless Vercel feature, which is deployment protection. Disable. I don't know why. They have it enabled by default. What will happen if someone manages to guess your preview deployment link? Answer is nothing. Right. So, what else? And I like disabling it because this always hits me with end-to-end tests whenever they're running against the preview deployment. And I forgot to disable this. It's it crashes because it gets gatekept by the Vercel login screen. And they have a feature of paying to do something like an allow list, like to put something to bypass this. But you need to be on a premium organization, which is quite sneaky. Anyway, that's by the by. Let's move on to the final demo, I suppose. Recap of what we've done today. As you know, we have the JOHNNIFY product, but we have questions. How do you get it? Why do you need to log in? Why do you need a GitHub account to be linked? What about the private repo? There are many instructions in this project, there are many repos, but it's not easily searchable. And in fact, if you're not already a member, then you cannot see what is in there. So this welcome screen, you only get it if you're already in the repository. Like all of these handsome, beautiful, amazing people and supporters. So what I want to do is to build a documentation website that tells you all about this project, all the live streams we do, all the fun stuff, the games that we sometimes build, anything you want. And we did it today with Astro Starlight, and it was easier than I thought. And I thought it was going to be like mid to kind of easy based on how Docusaurus works and how Astro Starlight presents itself. During my research, I did try a few things, but I didn't actually try to build the site. And it was easier than I expected. So we do get this, which is a responsive website. Most importantly, we do get the certs. So on local development, this doesn't work, which was interesting. But when you build the site, then you can, it generates the search keywords, the search association. Using a third party that you can change, you could make it work with Algolia search, for example, which is really, really good. So let's see, we didn't add many content here, but you'll see that it will point to specific sections of everything. So if I say slot 5, then you can get straight to a specific section where I mention something. If I am right, like game jam, then it's like, oh, this appears. If I say Sony, then more results according to what I've had here. You get this sidebar by default, which we've customized. The FAQ sections, like a little nice accordion functionality with the rotating arrow. I like that. Light and dark mode support. Oh, sorry for that. Code looks great in it. I did appreciate that whenever you specify something for SH, like the bash language, it has this little window that looks like a terminal. That's very cute. And you have like the copy paste thing with little alert. Like to build this would have taken me like a month to do it in, not necessarily like Next.js or SvelteKit or anything like that, but to build a site without using a third party, like Starlight, like Docusaurus. There is so many things here, like this sidebar on the right, which is based on the headers, does sync with where you are on the page, so you can see the highlights there. It's very nice, very cool. We have the social icons there, which are not outbound links, which is good because people can middle click or command click or whatever. So that's fine. Yeah, I guess it's on me to actually write the content here for every starter, every experiment, every game, all of the things that we're building. Coolest thing is definitely the search. No results for hello word. No. But for what else did we do here? Oh, we have the portfolio website. AI, LLM. No results for LLM. There will be some. But yeah, looks quite cool. I'm sure I can enable view transitions because you can enable them in Astro as well. Need to have a look. Are view transitions nice for documentation websites? I don't know. We'll need to experiment with that. But I think that's about it. Any page you can set up so you can actually get to edit it. So if you find that there is a typo there or that you want another section because you had trouble actually getting this to set up, you can click edit page and you get the GitHub repo in the edit page immediately. So that's quite nice. And you can make the change and then it will raise a PR. So that's neat. That's amazing, actually. Wow. This is an easy way to add translations as well. So if I put the English version and the Greek version and you want the Spanish version as well, then you can make the Spanish version. That'd be neat. But I think this is it for the demos for today. I loved this. I did get a bit lost in styling as usual, creating components and that sort of thing, stuff that doesn't really matter for this demo. But I really appreciated working with Astro Starlight here. And we did deploy to Vercel in the end. And because my domain is set up in Vercel as well, it was easy to make this be deployed to docs.johnnyfy.com. So I'll also need a release here to actually make this link to the docs and the FAQs and all of that. But that's by the by. Something to keep in mind, like somewhere to define that my primary color is like purple. I'll find those things and tweak them. I'm sure they'll be somewhere, maybe bring in Tailwind and use it for that. Do they have like a quick place where they say anything about branding? Here, primary, let's see, color. Starlight will use this. And I have the accent. But is the accent the preferred one? Let's see, Tailwind palette. It's kind of like this, so I think they use accent to mean primary. So we can give that a try. But we need to add the Tailwind first. And I have a Starlight plugin. Let's give it a go. I actually had it here. So not the ultimate, maybe the ultimate demo, but Tiki, last feature, got inspired. And added to an existing project. I think they have like something else. Ah, the other, of course. So let's go to the apps, docs, and Banex, Astro, Tailwind. Yeah. 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 Oops, not quite. So what did it actually do? We need to manually add this, I suppose. These packets. Then we want a Tailwind CSS, I suppose, is what they're saying here. Which we could add somewhere else. But hey. So they're saying, let's follow the instructions. In this docs app, so that Tailwind CSS. But so I'll just do what they're saying, and then we can see if we can make them even crazier. And there is a custom CSS link, which we're not using. So we'll use it now. Point to our Tailwind file. And we need to specify to not apply the base styles, it says here. Because we're using it with Starlight. Yes, it's a bit different. And we need to import the Starlight plugin in the Tailwind config, actually. Tailwind config, and this guy. And just run it here. All right, run the doc server again, see if anything happens. It works now. So they're saying that we can override the color. Z in the extends key. Let's bring the colors from Tailwind CSS. And what should we do? What are we doing on the other one? because we're using Tailwind UI, Daisy UI, which is doing yet another thing. But the question is, as always, between before purple and violet. I wonder what we had before. I imagine that this must be something. Nope. This one is what I want to copy. Yeah, purple. All right. So the purple color, and for grays, what do we do? Usually do slate, but I guess I'm not doing anything here. Oh well. Purple. So you can see the background changed a little bit. And this is like less bluey and it's more purpley. What do I like for a color? I think I like stone. That's the best gray. A warm gray. And if I don't have this, like maybe like it's hard to see on stream. I do like the bluish color actually here. Let's do emerald to make it more obvious. Yeah, so the accent you can see. Now it's quite more obvious. Purple is a subtler change. But this is what we'll keep for now. Alright, so Tailwind is in. No more inline styles. We can use Tailwind classes now. Cool. Format yet again for luck. But I need to do it from the root of the repo, of course. Everything was already perfectly formatted. Interestingly, they add everything as a dependency, so I guess I should do the same thing. Not sure. Like everything is a dev dependency because in development the build step happens. But I'll leave it as this. What else? So I do have like a shared Tailwind config here that is doing quite a lot of things, including bringing in Daisy UI. But I won't be bringing it in for now. But I also have CSS reset that is doing Tailwind things, plus some things that I think are good for any website, like my own reset amassed from years of working on the internet and reading great blogs as well, including Toscomos, Small CSS by Stephanie, Kevin on YouTube, like lots of things here. But I will trust that the defaults that they have are the same, and I'm not going to import it for this. The important thing on the docs website is the content, so I'll focus on that one. And so long as it looks like close to the brand, I'm happy. And it looks alright. It looks alright. Cool. So let's commit this. And that's gonna be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you'd like to see on Friday. If you want to see more doc stuff, maybe we've made something cool, although I don't know what it could be. I could report back on how the search is looking like when I've added lots of content here. Maybe we could try to implement Algolia search. Maybe we'll try to do generative AI again. Having all of the content in Markdown here may make it easier to implement LangChain, which is something I've been trying to find a way to do a good live stream on for quite a while, but I've been kind of struggling. But maybe this is the time. This is when we'll manage to do it. I don't know. We'll see. So blue is in production. At some point it will go purple. That's when we'll end the stream. If you have any questions, ask them now and I'll hang around for a bit longer. And it feels like this is going to be it. Purple. We did it. We're in. We're golden. We're moving. Thank you very much for spending a bit of your time with me. I hope you had fun today. It's been a while since we did an Astro stream, and I'm a firm believer that you should try to pick the best tool for the job. Sometimes I still recommend Next.js when hiring is a concern. When it's a bigger company, it's still easier to hire React engineers, for better or for worse. Sometimes I will recommend SvelteKit because I love the DevX with SvelteKit when it comes to building more complicated apps that need to interface with some other APIs, when they have more extreme like sign-up flows, when you need to handle some webhooks, that sort of thing. Next.js, of course, does all of these things. I just find SvelteKit a bit better for some specific things that I've talked a lot about. And of course, the templating in Svelte looks more like vanilla HTML, and SvelteKit tries to adhere to HTML standards and web standards. So if you learn them in Svelte, you can do them anywhere. But for today, best tool for the job, I thought, was Astro. Docusaurus, which is using React, is also a great option, much more popular than Starlight. But in my specific use case, where I will want to have some markdown that is showing React components, some markdown that is showing Svelte components, Astro is ideal because of its micro frontends architecture. Most people don't get the benefit of the micro frontends architecture, and I don't mean conceptually you don't get it, in that in reality you won't need it. You won't need the benefit of mixing multiple frameworks in there. You may get other benefits like independent releases or whatever you want to call them, isolation, doesn't really matter. But sometimes people say micro frontends because you'll have React in this place of the app and Svelte on this other place and Vue on the other one. Very, very unlikely, but in this case, it's true. So another reason why Astro was a good choice for this one. And it was great to play around with this. Thanks everyone in the chat. Thank you, Baby Bathduck, for showing up and commenting. And I'll see you all on Friday. Hope you have lovely weeks until then. Have a lovely evening today. And thanks again for watching. See ya!